Cool.
All right. So, topic of the day is productivity and productivity on I'm the DM and I have a staff, specifically PDI structure. And I mentioned this to you on our voice memo. It's not really incoming PDI. That's really simple.
Yeah.
Hey, when's your next demo? How much did you sell? That stuff's easy.
Yeah.
I want outgoing PDI. And I guess let's play it this way. Okay. You're lining up your summer staff. Who's your summer staff so far?
From me directly. So it's going to be Hannah Lassiter, Cooper Stanley, Austin Thrower at the moment.
Okay. Austin's your most senior, right?
Austin's my most senior. Yeah.
How long has he been around?
3.5 years.
And he's run a branch too, right?
He's ran a district and then shut down. Yeah.
DM. Okay. Cool. And then he's back with you selling full time.
Selling full time. He's going CSP.
Is he in school?
He's not in school now.
Okay. And then Cooper and Hannah, how long have they been around?
Yeah. So Cooper is about a 10K rep. So he's kind of like, in the up and coming um 18-year-old in high school. And he is going to UNC Charlotte next semester in the fall. So definitely want to develop him. He's more of like, this is sort of his retention and getting him to that next layer. Cause UNC Charlotte, having a kid go to school for 4 years is a big benefit to me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Having someone local that's sharp. And then Hannah was just the 15th All-American this past fall. She sold 50 grand for the fall. Started September. And her sister is Sydney. And I think you have seen her name on the report, both their names on the reports.
That's cool. Are they twins?
They're twins. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got twins starting in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I interviewed them last week. They turn 18, literally like Valentine's Day weekend. And then I've got
Cool.
training. Or no, sorry. Right after VCA weekend. And then we have
Okay.
training for them. So
Mine started at different times. One started in the summer, one started in the fall.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Um, that's awesome. And then did Sydney sell a lot? Is she at 50K?
Sydney's at 45. So her sister actually,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Same network. That's crazy.
Well,
Um,
it's funny because Sydney took all the friends and family. Hannah had a $500 fast start. So
uh-oh. That's not normal in Alex Bowles' office.
it is not. But when you have literally no one to show to, I had to give her, she started on service calls.
Okay.
So I took a little bit different of an approach with that
Yeah.
one.
I've done that. I've done that. That's how
Yeah.
McCall actually.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah. Well, not really, but he
Okay.
had a 6K kind of halt uh,
Yeah.
after a summer and a half to get to
Oh,
6K.
wow.
Um, and he got a speeding ticket and was like, an hourly job. I'm going to be a receptionist. I was like, no, you're not. Come to the office.
You wouldn't expect that from Confident Mikhail.
No. And then he had a 5K week and then,
Yep.
so, um, but absolutely. So with those three people, okay,
Mhm.
um, what are you like if you were to tell me I'm your DVM, what's the summer schedule for PDI look like for outgoing? Who's
Yeah. So I think it's more of a split than it is people taking different days.
okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So my objective with PDI is, let's just say we blip to summer right now with where everyone's at in sales.
Right.
I don't think it's appropriate, number one, for Cooper to do PDI. Even if I taught Cooper the most incredible PDI that we have known to man, no one's going to listen to an 8K rep.
Let's assume he's at 30 by the summer.
Okay, let's assume he's at 30 by the summer.
Yeah.
So let's say it's 30, 50, 250. I want it to be more of a split. And I think about two metrics when it comes to doing PDI. I think about how much is somebody at in sales and correlation, and how well will this person connect with the person I'm delegating to them.
Okay.
So number one is knowing my people and knowing what they're going to naturally connect with others. And then also meeting the sales rep where they're at in terms of what do I want them to accomplish, right? Starting with the end in mind. So the two kinds of people that I want for PDI when I'm in the office, I want my 5 stars that just started, and I want my top people.
Hmm.
And then I want Austin to take care of the people that are kind of already consistently rolling, that he doesn't necessarily need to mentally manage as much as he does just, hey, what are your goals? How can I help you this week? What's the sales tip that you need help most on? Because obviously Austin's at 250 grand,
Yeah.
right? So he's going to be able to help them incrementally with those little sales things. I
Love
think
it.
about, It's obviously a little bit harder for a guy to connect with a female, especially when they're newer, right? And they're a little bit more timid. So that's obviously going to be Hannah's role is she's going to be great with connecting with the other females, making them more comfortable, them seeing a 50K female rep that's done it and didn't have a great fast start,
Yeah.
right? And being able to connect on that feminine side. And then Cooper is sort of just learning the ropes, more or less tagging along with me, maybe me giving him, the 2 or 3K rep that's struggling a little bit. And I'm going to teach him how to help that person better.
Okay.
That's what I think about personally.
Okay. So likes with likes, basically.
Likes with likes. Yeah. I've never heard it put that way, but I like that.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at like web PDI here, right?
Sure.
I don't know what system you use. I'm going to ask you about that here in a little bit, but
Yeah.
you've got your top reps that maybe Austin's going to work with. These are all the reps that like Aiden's at 30K, he's consistent.
Yeah.
Alex is at 8K, but he's a core guy. Graham's at 65K.
Yeah.
Um, Seth is at 22K.
Love that kid, by the way. I'm excited to see what Graham does this summer.
Yeah, same. And then Vicky's at 140K. Like Austin be managing them, right?
Right.
And then this doesn't have it, but let's say, these 10 are in training and three of them are 5 stars. You're going to take these three. You,
I'm taking the three.
okay. Even though they're brand new, you're gonna manage your fast starters.
Correct.
Who handles the rest of the fast starters? Let's say there's 5 of them.
It's gonna normally be so it's kind of like that's also broken up. It's normally it's that's a touch and go kind of thing. It's normally gonna be the Dom. So
Okay.
Austin.
Okay, cool. So he'll handle the 5 consistent reps plus the 5 fresh out of training that aren't the top 3.
Yes.
Okay, and then let's say the rest of these kids, I need to clean up my my web PDI.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, there's a bunch that we launched over winter break that are already back at school or quit. So, uh,
Okay.
but let's say the rest of these, it's a Tuesday and we're doing PDI and we need to talk to how many reps are there? 28 reps. Okay, let's
Okay.
just say this whole group is the training the team.
Yeah.
And they're a mix of, 500 in sales to 8 grand.
Okay.
So what's the system on like if you were to let's start at the beginning of the week, Sunday. When do you do your staff meeting?
I do an hour on Sunday and an hour on Wednesday, both before the team meetings.
Okay, perfect. So on Sunday, do you split that up to like, hey, who's calling who on Tuesday, who's calling who on Thursday?
Yeah. So what we do is I have a whiteboard. So I have two whiteboards in my office. We have like a staff room and then we have just the main room. The staff room sort of like where we have projections and stuff like that. And then I'll do the main room normally on Sundays where we write down 4 categories. It's fast starters, days 4 through 10,
Mm-hmm.
mid reps, top reps.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sort of write down each of them. And then I say, hey guys, if we could boil down into 1 to 2 words what this person needs most, let's do it for everybody. And we'll go through, right? Average order, more demos, consistency, mindset. You know what I mean? Whatever it is for each person that we think they need help with the most, that's our objective to basically all of us know that's the topic of conversation for that person from Sunday until we see them on Wednesday again.
Right.
So what's important about having other people on staff is my objective is they know what we're talking about so they can hear it from 4 different instruments, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes a song sound good is the different instruments.
Right.
So I'll take a picture of this board and I'll send it to them, or we have a staff chat and I'll send it to them and say, hey, obviously when we're talking to people, whether that's outgoing PDI, incoming, whatever, we're referencing this topic to them and they're hearing it from 4 different voices or
Mm.
however many I have on staff.
Yeah,
So they're kind of just, becoming what we need them to be over that 3 to 4 day period.
sure. Love that. Okay. And so obviously some of that is incoming. So if I know Alex needs average order and the staff knows that Alex needs average order, when
Yeah.
Alex calls, it's a real simple like, yeah, cool, awesome. Hey, we want to improve your average order, blah, blah, blah. Hey, we're doing a workshop on XYZ at the team meeting. Oh, hey, Friday at Champs Club, we're going to be covering exactly what you need. Make sure you're there 8 a.m., whatever it is. So
Yeah.
income is covered. And then what's your outgoing structure? Like, this is for new reps. So I
Yeah.
know Tuesday is outgoing to set up the team meeting with numbers and like mindset and get 5 demos booked before you come in. But the people watching the video don't know that stuff. So what's the process then?
So you want me
Sunday?
to relay all of that, all of the bullet
Yeah.
points you just gave? Okay, cool. So we start doing for brand new reps like right after days 1 through 4 basically. So like Tuesday is their first day of outgoing PDI.
Bingo. Yep.
So we don't really do that first weekend, obviously. And
Mhm.
so on Monday, right before advanced training ends, that's how I tee it up. Hey guys, as a reminder from your interview, after your final phase of training, you have what's called PDI, which is our personal daily impact with you. And so this happens every day, other than Sundays. All right, because we don't want you worried if you have church in the morning or anything like that. Sundays, it's always going to be a text message. But Tuesday through Saturday, here's what's going to happen. And I cover that structure with them. For us in our office this past summer, it was Holden was my Dom last summer. You're calling Holden between 9 and 11 a.m.
Okay.
So we actually don't call them, they call us. And
Mm.
this is something that I learned from Larry is people are just naturally more receptive and prepared because when they call us, they're
They
kind
have
of
no
mentally
idea.
like, okay, I'm ready to listen. Like it's not like us calling them while they're in the car and they're on the phone with their friend. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They're like, hold on, my manager's calling me. Let me put you on hold. And then they're mentally like, I'm trying to get off so I can get back on with my friend.
Yeah, I remember Rich Plaskin, my DVM, my original DVM. He used to have the pilot staff call kids at 7 a.m. It's like,
Yeah. Do you remember Jacob's message from this past
yeah,
SLC?
yeah,
Yeah,
calling
I
it.
did. I did not write that one down, but yeah, he calls his people at 7 in the morning. I was like, that's just a little too early for me.
It's mean.
So I think 9-11 was a really good window. And, obviously most of the people call them between like the 10 to 11 area.
Okay.
So it was sort of about, making a list and we made a checklist every single morning.
Checking it
So
twice.
what is it?
Making a list, checking it twice.
Yeah, make a list, check it twice. So what I would do is Holden would go to the office and I wouldn't be there most mornings unless I, needed to do PDI with certain people. I would just do it from my home office, which is where I'm at.
Hmm.
And I would just basically write out a checklist. And basically we asked ourselves, what are the three big rocks that we need to move today? Or the three big dominoes. If we push these dominoes over, how do the rest of the dominoes fall?
Right.
And so on Tuesday, obviously that's the three big things that I think about is Wednesday confirmation,
Hmm.
demos ahead,
Hmm.
and getting them on the phone. Right. So kind of figuring out like, hey, how like Wednesday confirmation, getting their goal for Thursday through Sunday and helping them map that out because most kids really don't know what that looks like, especially if they're brand new. They
Yeah.
don't know what a Wednesday through or Thursday through Sunday goal should look like.
Right.
Right. And then beyond that, on Tuesdays, actually, when I talk to them about their paycheck,
Hmm.
because Monday was the end of the week. And I want to talk to them about on Tuesday. This is a personal take of mine. I don't want to talk to them on Friday when half the week is already over.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that. And
So it's
also,
like, hey, what is it?
you're kind of teaching these kids to like I had a 50K rep ask me the other day. He's like, my commission statement looked off. I was like, you don't know how to read your commission statement? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
So they're on their Tuesday, we'll be like, hey, go into your My Vector Connect, whatever commission statements. This is how you view it. And that's what we teach them when they're brand new. But obviously, they haven't gotten a paycheck yet. So I'm like, we'll talk to you more about that on Friday when whatever, blah, 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 blah. But
mhm.
we're planting the seed now. If here's what you made, how would you like that number to be bigger
Mm,
next week?
that's
Right.
that's so good.
And then they're like, obviously like 99% of kids are like, yeah, I'd love for it to be bigger. And it's like, great. Well, let me walk you through what that looks like. And then you give them their averages, right? Malia, you did 9 demos between, Friday night and Monday. And this is what I did with my just recent, she did like 4K first weekend, like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, you did 9 demos. Here's how much you sold. Here's what your average order was. Here's how much you closed. Let's just say that you went with those same averages, which by the way, Malia, like Friday night, you didn't even know what the hell a trimmer was. You know what a trimmer is now. Let's just say you didn't get any better. All right. This next week, and you have the whole week, your paycheck should not be less than it was this week.
Right.
Right. So here's what that looks like. Do you have your white manual nearby? Okay, great. Pull that out. Do me a favor. Open it up to the back, which is page 41, and look at days 4 through 10. All right. What I want you to do really quickly, I'm going to mute myself and just take 60 seconds. I don't want you to worry about demos right now. I just want you to plug into your calendar your current prior commitments. Now, I don't want you to plug in everything like, the gym, eating breakfast, and using the restroom. But let's say you have church on Sundays. Do you have church on Sundays? You do? Okay, great. When is that normally from to? 9 to 10? Awesome. That's what you want to put in your calendar. The things that really aren't malleable, the things that you can't really move around. So do those really quickly. I'm just going to mute myself and come back to me when you're done. Take your time. And then I mute myself. I'll talk to my staff if they're at my apartment or whatever, if I'm at the office, you know what I mean? They come back and I go, okay, now let's do your demo slots. So, Malia, if you could snap your fingers, click your heels, throw a penny into a well, how much would you like to make this week? And they'll tell me a number, and then I'll break down for them what that actually looks like in terms of how much they need to sell in terms of demos. Like, hey, here's how many demos that realistically looks like.
Right.
So we need to do one of two things, Malia. We need to either understand that this is what's required to get us to our goal, or we need to change our goal. Which one do you want to do? 80% of the time, they're like, okay, that makes sense. And I'm like, hey, listen, you want to make $700 this week? That's going to take you 13 demos. Malia, I know in training you booked up like, 9 demos in an hour. Obviously, because you're brand new, that's your friends and family, right? They're going to pick up a little bit easier than your mom's friends will, right? Your indirect, immediate people that you know. So I just don't want you to come in tomorrow with 0 out of 13 going into Wednesday, just because, Malia, it would just be unrealistic of me to give you that expectation that you're just going to be able to walk in tomorrow and book up all 13.
Yeah.
So we have a standard called arrive with five. Malia, do me a favor, write that down in your manual. Arrive with five, meaning before you walk in the door tomorrow, it's five at a minimum. By the way, your two other friends in training, Jonathan and Christine, they already have their five. You're the last person that I'm talking to. This is just a simple standard that we have for everyone that arrives in the office. Most people come with more, but the minimum is five. So what I want you to do is today at some point, this isn't going to take you forever, but when do you think you'd have 30 to 45 minutes to phone jam? Would now be a good time or sometime later today? And I don't really want them to say now, but it's giving them the option, right? Of would now work or would later today be better? And they're like, later today. And I'm like, great. When is that? And then they write it down. And I don't know if you were on the region call where I go, what is it?
Siri.
Yep.
Yep.
Hey Siri. And then when I get off with them, hey Siri, set a reminder for 6 p.m. to follow up with Malia about her 45-minute phone jam. And then I'm doing that with every rep.
Do you do reminders or alarms? I like
I
alarms.
just do alarms.
Okay.
Because it just starts going off and I'm like, okay, great. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then another thing that I do is if I know I'm not going to talk to them in the meantime, I just, right when I'm done with PDI, I'll go to their text message and I do what's called a send later message. Do you know about this or no?
Mm-mm.
I'm about to blow your mind. So
I used to be able to do it on my Android way back when, but
there's something here. I don't know if it's going to focus called send later. And I can pick the day and the time that I want messages automatically sent out to people.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I just auto send all of these. I just copy and paste it. Hey, how did your phone jam go at the time that they told me that they were going to finish up? So it's just this auto message to everybody at the time needed. And I open my phone to, it went well or it went poorly or this is how many I got booked.
Dude, that's so good. That's so good.
It's just systemizing all the little things.
Yeah. One of the things that Vicky blew my mind about, and I think she got it from either Jess Shannon or Victoria, was I'll just share my desktop this time, was chats in here we go. Was making a WhatsApp chat with all of our staff.
Okay.
And so what's cool about WhatsApp, and I'm curious if you think this is a good system or not, because obviously text message, text group chats, we all have WhatsApp group chats, but you get your staff all in here. And what's cool about it is when they call in for PDI, anyone can answer.
Yeah.
What we really haven't figured out is what happens if multiple people call in. We've had pretty crazy, fast start like demos calling in. It's just chaos on WhatsApp, but then everybody's in the loop on the same text string. So, when people are coming in and what time and sending the rec organizer, sending the heads up, sending the group chat. They send debriefs, things like that.
So we have all of that. Ours is more like one of my reps this fall too, Mason Richardson. So he's not going to be on staff, but he was a 25K rep.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been All-American if he didn't start like, middle of October. But it's just Mason's coaching chat. Mason likes to play basketball, so that's what we make the photo. I don't even know if you
Okay.
can see the basketball,
Yeah.
but everything's just logged in here. You know what I mean? And I like iMessage better just because, most representatives don't have their WhatsApp notifications on, and it's the last thing they're thinking about opening,
It's so
right?
annoying. I do
So
agree.
most kids are going to open up their iMessage, and believe me, they're going to see me and the other AMs texting them. You know what I mean? So there's really no excuse as to, why they didn't see it or anything like that.
Yeah, fair point. And then do you have a team WhatsApp?
We have a team WhatsApp, yes.
Okay, so you use iMessage and team WhatsApp.
iMessage for individual things or personal things, and then
Yep.
WhatsApp for, collective everybody group chat, all that fun stuff.
Yep. Love it.
And
All
I
right.
did get that from Victoria too, was the coaching chats.
Yep. Yeah, I think either way you play it, I think is good.
Yeah.
So the next thing is with PDI. This is old. I don't know who we got these from, but these are definitely old. But having a checklist for Monday on like what to talk about, and then
Interesting. Okay.
a checklist on Tuesday for what to talk about. This is something that Rich used to teach way back in the day. So,
Yeah.
um, but I can give this. We don't need to go through every day. Uh,
Right.
but my understanding was what Brian used to do, Brian Hurlman, who's originally Carolina, and what Larry used to do.
I was in Brian's office my first summer.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, in Fairfax.
Yeah. So I went up to his office to sell for part of the
Okay.
summer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I
he
was in
did.
like the public space they had or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Eaton Place or Eaton Park.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I did not like that office. Uh, they used to do just Tuesday, Thursday PDI, I think, outgoing, starting in maybe 2017. And prior to that, it was every day, every morning.
Mhm.
Um, does everyone in your division do every day, every morning?
Summertime wise, yeah. I take a little bit different of an approach. I don't do daily PDI with everybody during the fall and spring, which maybe I should because I don't have that many people. But for me,
Your two reps.
right, yeah. For me, it's more of a focus on, just when they need something, I'm kind of there. I try to be a little bit more hands off when they're in school, just because,
I agree. Yeah.
I think a lot of it is, I don't know if I'm going to say, I don't know about saying this on Zoom, but let me think of the way to phrase it. Giving people the illusion that they're in control. I think that's a very powerful way of doing business is people that feel like they're in control are normally, a lot happier, right? And so when they're in school and stuff like that, it's more about, hey, when you need something, call me, but you should need something, so you should be calling me. I think there's a very fine line, right? Where
Agreed.
it's promoting at team meetings, like every single time it was a Wednesday team meeting, I'm promoting, hey guys, the reason why Hannah was on the newsletter for 11 weeks in a row, right? Which is true. She was on the newsletter 11 weeks in a row is because guess what, guys? Hannah, what do you do when you need something? And she's like, I call you. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, exactly. She calls me. Right. And on the 11th week, I'm like, hey guys, by the way, I'm a person of rewarding good behavior. Right. Hannah, I know that you love Lululemon. Here's an $100 gift card to Lululemon. That's what I did. Right. And so it's sort of for everyone else gives the impression of like, oh, number one, this rewards good behavior. And I was like, guys, by the way, even if I didn't give her $100, right? Well, she's still going to do the same thing because look at how much money she's made. And I had this slide. Like, I want to promote the right activity, not through not through dictatorship, but through direction,
Hmm.
right? I promote these things a lot to like my staff and my candidates, which is this isn't control, it's correction. It's not dictatorship, it's direction. Power and things like that are very delicate subjects or sensitive
Yeah.
subjects. It can go one way or the other really fast. So figuring out how to stay in that little middle ground is super important. So during the fall and spring, it's about, I want them to feel like in their control. I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. I want them to be comfortable, but also be getting consistent results.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's sort of my mindset behind that.
Absolutely. I like that. Um, do you and I think I kept saying Tuesday, Thursday PDI. I was on a call earlier about Champs Club. We were talking about Tuesday, Thursday. So it's
No,
Tuesday,
you're good.
Friday, Tuesday, Friday, because you want to line up the weekend.
Yeah.
Um, Anything else you do with PDI?
In what specific category?
That was a very broad question.
Yeah, more direct questions get more direct answers, right?
Correct. Let me think about that. So here's a good one.
Sure.
I'll give you a scenario, not necessarily a direct question. So team sales are down. Your team went from, let's give a summer scenario. SC1, 25K in new. Same team just did 7K in new. So they're down basically a third. Do you do more PDI? Are you more rigid with PDI? Or do you just handle that at team events?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think that, I don't know if you've ever heard of how much did two horses pull versus one, right? Something that we had the whole summer that was such a blessing and something I'm super grateful for was Nadia, right? It didn't matter if Nadia was out of the country. It didn't matter if she was in town. It didn't matter if she was, sleeping. She was selling knives, right? She sold $95,000 this summer, was the number three All American.
That's hot.
And even like literally, like even out of the country, she was doing virtual demos. So something that I really understand about our business and how I preach a lot about, I am not the best recruiter, I'm not the best whatever, but I do understand human behavior to a deep degree.
Mhm.
And it's something that I'm super passionate about. It's also my one word for the year this year. It's something I've done since I was 18 is define my life to a word and focus on that. This year it's behavior. And so I think about, you know, how do I get people to want to do something without me having to say it?
Mhm.
Right? The best way for someone to do something is to make them think it's their idea or to have a with them conversation. With them meaning what's in it for me.
Mhm.
So when Nadia was out of the country, I don't really want people to know how much she sold as much as I want them to know, hey, she's working while she's doing blank. So when Nadia would put her sales in the chat, I would text Nadia, hey, make sure that you take a picture of where you're at. So like she was in Europe this past summer and she sold like 7 grand that week. And she just takes a picture of like, in my hotel bedroom, you know what I mean? Just drop the signature set, right? And so it's promoting it through the lens of, they're not looking at that like, oh, my sales manager wants me to sell. It's like, well, damn, if this person can do it, I can too. And I'm just the backup, like lobbing it. Like Nadia just made, $1,000 in her hotel room from her laptop. Name another job you can do that at legally, right?
Yeah.
So if we have a bad week like that, I think it's also about, it's not so much about what happened as much as it is how did we let that happen.
Good
I
call.
think that I think that's another big thing is it's more about, hey, how do we let that happen? It's not as much, they only did 20 demos. It's like, how did we let them think that that was appropriate or okay?
I like that because I think when a new manager hears that, they're very reactive versus responsive.
Yeah.
So, you know, um, I think you should always look at it through the lens of what did I do to create or not create?
Yes.
Because then the managers have control versus it's I don't know that we've done a workshop on this in a while, but collecting versus creating.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we did this many demos, so we'll just collect PDI
Yeah.
versus creating more demos, creating 100K week, creating more recruits, setting more PRs. Um, so I love that. That's good. So I guess to distill your answer down is looking back at what did we do to create that, which is probably lack of PDI, lack of Arrive with Five, lack of demos, lack of promotion, all which is in our control, and we can fix that the following week or the
Yeah.
current.
And something Patty, I think her last name's Brimble, I think, Patty James. So she runs the PB calls.
Yep.
Something that she taught me was identify your gunner. Like if your top guy's out of town, it's not that your top guy's out of town. You got to make someone else the top guy. So it's kind of like when I worked with Hannah this fall, I just think about, she had a $500 fast start. I don't know if you know this stat, but we hit President's Banquet on 6 recruits
That's
this
insane.
fall. Yeah. So, we had her max out her 30. Mason did 25. We had another 10K fast starter who did about 17, and a couple other kids, like two other kids that did like 10. And what I said in my message in Olean was they had no choice but to succeed. Like they didn't have an option. right?
Mhm.
It's me taking control of the 6 people that I have and making them the best. If you saw these 6 kids, none of them had the most exceptional network. Mason, my 10K fast starter and Mason were fully virtual, right?
Mhm.
And they weren't like the sharpest kids. Mason pulled up to training with ripped jeans on and said no cap every other sentence. And it's like, it's about right, like we talked about, creating the results, not collecting. And so my mindset has always been, if someone's sitting in, I always tell my reps this on a demo, it doesn't matter who you're sitting in front of, it matters who they're sitting in front of.
Mhm.
That's what gets results. You're blaming it on the customer instead of you blaming it on yourself. For the same reason as managers, why do we blame it on our reps when it's our skill set?
Yeah. Um, Not to out you, but
Sure.
managing 6 reps doesn't take a lot of time,
Of course.
right? So what I don't want to hear, what I don't want like a new DM be like, oh yeah, I can recruit 4 people and uh sell 100K for the campaign, right?
Right.
So um how much time do you think it took to work with those 6? Like how much time did you spend with them every week?
In and outside the office collectively, honestly, 20 to 30 hours a week just for those people.
Hmm.
Because a lot of buy-in, a lot of what's in it for them conversations, a lot of vision casting, a lot of, hey, I'm doing demo. I sold 30 grand myself for the campaign,
Hmm.
right? A lot of, hey, you're gonna come watch me, then I'm gonna come watch you, like multiple days with multiple people. Like I'm on Zoom all day with Mason,
Yep.
watching him do demos. I'm driving with Hannah, watching her do a day full of demos, right? And we're debriefing and we're going over things and we're talking about what can we do differently for next time and all of that. And so it's manufacturing the result. I
I
think
like
also
that.
part of that is, I've sold over, a third of $1 million myself.
Yep.
So I can very much psychoanalyze, the little things that they can do differently and better.
You take a lot of control. The reason why I asked you that is, again, I don't want a new manager to hear that and be like,
Oh yeah, like I
"Oh,
hired him and
shit.
just sat back.
Yeah, I can take 6 phone calls a week and just chill, you know?"
Yeah, no,
Um,
no, 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 no.
so here's another good question. If you were to scale that, right? If you were to become the recruiting manager and you had more people that you had to work with, how do you how do you get those maybe not that extreme of results because you can't drive around with every rep, you can't be on
Right,
Zoom
yeah.
all day with every rep, but there's things that you can do in a group. And, if you stuck a new rep with Hannah and had a new rep field train with Austin and a group of new kids go on a demo with Hannah, but Hannah has her laptop up on Zoom while she's doing an in-person demo, and then you can start working with kids uh, in mass. The thing I'm trying to get across to my people, um, our new DMs, is when they're new and they don't have the skill set yet for high level PPR and they haven't sold 300,000, they need to focus on recruiting because recruiting is more profitable for them.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's a numbers game, right? They're more likely to do well as well. Like,
exactly, exactly. So, what are some things that you could duplicate in a like we recruited, I don't know, 100 and something people this summer,
yeah.
100. Um, and obviously, I'm not going to spend all my time with 180 kids
Hmm.
because a lot of them aren't, worth spending. Like they're not worth spending time with. But from a results standpoint, I'm not going to get as many results out of certain people. So I'm going to spend my time with the 20% that gets 80% of the results. So what are some things that you can do or you could do with a big team that's going to move the needle like that?
So I think about this summer, a big team to me was like we had like, 15 to 20 people at a team meeting. Like that was big to me because my first summer, we had a good PPR my entire career. My first summer was a 4K PPR, jumped up to about 6K in the spring. And then this past summer it was 9 grand. This is all just new business based. And then this past fall, I think the total business PPR, I think it was like 18 grand per person or something like that,
That's
which is
awesome.
pretty funny.
Yep.
But I want to promote it this way. I'm not a bad recruiter. I am a lazy recruiter. And that's not a good thing. I'm just being honest and vulnerable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the only work that matters is the work that no one sees. I've watched probably every Brian Hurlman and every Drew Frank video there is on YouTube
Yep.
across my career. As a new DM, like I can think of the girlfriend that I had at the time living with me in my apartment in Greensboro. And, it's 9 p.m. and we're sitting in bed and I have a notebook out and Drew Frank's on my TV
Yeah.
every single day. And so I'm watching one video and I'm implementing this. And I gave it to one of your guys. I don't know if he's still around, Ben Overby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's not,
he was, what is it?
he's not around.
Okay. Well, he asked me one day, he was like, what did you, this is at SLC, what did you do to get better? He was like, and I said, the only work that matters is the work that no one sees. Being at SLC, being at a conference, it's not special because everybody's there.
Hmm.
The only thing that doesn't matter, right, are the things that everybody sees. The things that do matter is when you leave the conference, when you leave the team meeting, when you leave the event, right? It's what are you doing with the information that you were just given? So for me as an individual, that's why I focused more on PPR, but it certainly doesn't mean if I changed my mindset that I couldn't do it with recruiting. So here's what I would do.
Yep.
So like you mentioned, and this is something that came to my mind was 20% of your business comes from 80% of your people and 80% of your business comes from 20% of your people. And I love that you asked that because we did it this past summer and I thought of a new way of doing it this upcoming summer.
Yeah. Great.
So the model we had this past summer, I didn't actually really do any of those things. I call them coffee conversations. I do loads of those now with my current team and I've implemented them with my branches and all this. Um, I didn't do any of that over the summer. That didn't exist. The biggest thing over the summer that generated us, I think it was 350K in new and 475 in total. And
Hmm.
we moved. So this was all fresh business.
Hmm.
This is 475 grand from April 1st. I didn't even have an office. And the office that I did have had no paint, no carpet, no Wi-Fi, and the AC didn't work. My
Hmm.
first training had no AC. I was in a tank top running training. And so for one kid, I trained him in one day and he was a 10K fast starter. He didn't know what a galley set was till he sold it in the office that night on his first demo.
I remember you
Um,
saying that story. Yeah.
yep. So the point of all that is I like to give that example because it's like, don't think what I did this fall is what made us work this summer. I wasn't sitting down with everyone in the morning doing all that. What worked this summer was, I think the biggest thing was every assistant manager understanding what does this person want out of the job? And every conversation relates around this one thing that I've sort of coined and I would love to share with the whole company. And I'm going to talk about VCAs in my message. Life skills, not knife skills.
Hmm.
So when Hannah had a no sale, I didn't talk about why no sales are bad for Cutco or why her commission statement wouldn't work. There are three reasons why people are motivated to do something. They're motivated by money,
Hmm.
they're motivated by experience, or they're motivated by accolades. I
Hmm.
call it, are you a one, a two, or a three? I'm a three. I don't care about how much I make as long as my name is on a billboard. That's
Right.
where I'm at with it, right? I care about the recognition. I care about being the guy that people want to talk to, people want to know.
Hmm.
All of my reps could give a shit. But most
Yep.
new managers make the mistake of what I want should become your desire.
Correct. I was having that conversation with Graham Smith, actually. I was like, he did a couple stop buys and he's like, oh, yeah, you can make a ton of money here. And he didn't look at any of not like it wasn't his fault. He just, there's a
Yeah.
new managers do this all the time. He
Yeah.
didn't look at the getting to know you sheets and like
Yes.
experience, career, skills. And I think in general, if you lead with experience and skills,
Money will follow.
instead of the money, yeah, the
Yeah.
money follows, but majority of kids are, especially up in Northern Virginia, like they don't care. Mommy and daddy,
Yeah.
they want the skills that are going to help them make a lot of money later, right? So
Right.
continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're great. Here's what I would say. What I would say is when I talk to Hannah and her sister too, every conversation is about real estate, not about Cutco, because they both want to go into real estate. They want to be real estate agents. So when they have a no sale, right? And they're like, oh, the customer couldn't afford it or whatever objection they give. I tell them, I go, hey, Hannah, I always lead with, because I care about you. Can I tell you why I think this is a problem? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, listen, I know your long-term goals. I know you want to get into real estate. what I want to explain to you, Hannah, is I like to call it baggage. Baggage is something that you have that wherever you take it, it's going to be applicable until you get rid of it.
Hmm.
So when you have a no sale, Hannah, and you want in to get into something like real estate, these aren't knife problems that you're solving. These are life problems that you're solving. So when you have a no sale with a customer, right, and you're not able to handle their objections or listen to them or be empathetic, you're not just going to spawn into real estate and all that information just be accumulated in your brain and you know how to do it. And I would argue, Hannah, if you can't have a $400 average order, if you can't close someone on $400, what makes you think that you're going to close someone on a 500, 1 million, $5 million house?
Correct.
And then she goes, I probably won't. And I'm like, great. So do you see why it's so important for us to try and solve this problem now? And then they go, yes. And now everything that I say beyond that has a purpose. When there's
Hmm.
purpose for the future, there's power in the present,
Yep.
right? Really 90% of us, even district managers, could really care less about, scissors and a cheese knife, right? But it's, well, what does it provide? Right? It's the why behind the how. And so for every representative, that's going to be different. Bryson Hunsinger, for example, is a one. He cares about the money. He just cares about how big is my paycheck every single week.
That's why he's going CSP and not DM.
Exactly. So I'm not sitting there talking to Bryson like, these are life skills, not knife skills. You know what I mean? Like the experience in real estate. And I'm like, hey, dude, like, you didn't do 15 demos this week. Are you happy with your paycheck? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, great. What are the actions that are going to get you the paycheck that you want? Let's write them out. I was like, if I was dead and you had this assignment due, what would you do? And he writes down the actions. And I go, great. If you do that, do you feel like your paycheck's going to be bigger or at least the same? Then it's an easy yes, right? Okay, great. Let's do that this week and the paycheck's going to follow.
That's so good.
So it's meeting a lot of those people where they're at with what they need. And every conversation's around what they want out of life, not what they want out of the job.
Correct.
It's just blending in the job is what they want.
Yep. I like that. I just had a similar conversation with actually Ben Overby.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah,
Yeah, that'd be my thought process there on that.
good. I like it. I can't think of any other follow-up questions. I'm mind blown. This is good. I'm glad we
Glad you're
had
getting some value out of it.
yeah. I'm glad we had this comment. What's cool about it, Alex Bowles, check this out. You're gonna be plastered on every single video in TLA whenever we talk about PDI structure for the
That's the
foreseeable
objective, I
future.
guess.
Well, your name's gonna be on the billboard, bro. So you don't get paid on it. You're not getting any life skills from it. You're just this is I might even put it on my YouTube channel. So we'll
Well, the
see.
value of it for me is, I tell people all the time when someone says thank you for the conversation or something like that, my initial response is, you're doing as much for me as I'm doing for you. And the reason being is everything that you say out loud to somebody else is the easiest way to get in a flow state. There's a book
Yep.
called Flow. And so the easiest way to get in a flow state is through quality conversation.
Yep.
And what that means is every time I'm saying something to somebody else, it reaffirms the beliefs that I have for my business. So this actually makes me more money because it makes me more affiliated with my own programs.
Exactly.
So it's a benefit for all of us. So anytime you need anything, I'm always around.
Sounds good.